Hi everyone, my name's Shelly. Thank you for joining us today to make some art and have some fun. I want to also thank Route 66 Arts Alliance, the town of Edgewood, and the Edgewood Moriarty School Districts for helping us get the supplies out to you and supporting this program of getting these classes to you. So today we're going to do a poem. So it's a writing project, and we're going to take that poem and translate it into visual imagery. So before we get started, let's just check in with our materials. The table or your workspace is covered with a plastic bag, and we'll just go through some simple things that you can go ahead and gather after I go through the list. A couple pages of the scrap paper, the copy lightweight paper, the template of the poem, something to write with, pen, pencils, and then we're going to have a couple pieces of the heavier paper, the mixed media paper, which we'll use for our signs, the road signs, which are going to be super fun, and markers, scissors, glue stick, tape, a couple popsicle sticks, and this is my favorite part, is going to look for the shapes that we're going to use for the templates of our road signs. So think about the different road signs that you might see. So I have a piece of cardboard that could be turned either way. I have a bowl and some different tins and plastic lids, depending on the size or the shape. Produce holder from the grocery store. So I'm a recycled artist, a collage artist, so I save so many things, and I just encourage you to think resourcefully about making art. So we are going to pause so that you can make sure you go ahead and have your materials and you have enough room to work in the center. So join me back when you're ready. Hi, hopefully you had fun gathering your materials. We're going to get started first with the poem. It's called I Am From. I think you have it in front of you, but either way, I'm going to just go through it with you before you actually go ahead and do the writing. So just grab a scrap piece of paper and something to write with. So this is all about you. This is using the senses to come up with language that tells us about you. So the first one is I am from the sound of. What do you love the sound of? What would the sound like? The sound of rain, the sound of a thunderstorm, your favorite music, the sound of blank. Then we're going to go on to smell. I am from the smell of popcorn, of cookies, of laundry after it's just been cleaned. These are just ideas. Of course, you do you. The next, I am from the sight of. What is the sight that you love to see? Rainbow over the mountains, a crow flying through the air, the flowers when they first start coming up in the spring, the sight of something. Then we're going to move on to the touch. What feels so good to you? What do you love the touch of? I am from the touch of a warm hoodie. I am from the touch of my favorite blanket. I am from the touch of a big hug from my grandmother or somebody you love. And then we have taste. What do you love to eat? What do you love to drink? What's specific to you and your family and the things that you enjoy? I am from the taste of cherry vanilla blue sky soda. That's one of my favorites. And then we'll move on to the last one, which is you really kind of get to create your own. I am from the blank of blank. I am from the Sandia Mountains in New Mexico. I am from the clouds of Mars. I am from the rings of Saturn, wherever you feel like you came from. And again, this is an artistic project, so use your imagination for all of these things and just have fun writing this poem. So now I'm going to ask you to pause and take time to write out your poem. And I'm just going to show you mine. It's kind of a piece of art in and of itself. I write out, I am from the sound of, and then whatever it is. And sometimes I change my mind and I think of something that, because we're thinking of things that are going to be able to be translated into a drawing. But don't worry about that too much, just go with the flow, write your poem, and then press pause now and join me back when you're ready for the next part. Welcome back. Hopefully you had fun writing your poem and you came up with some really cool ideas and images that tell us about you. So what we're gonna do now is take a look at what we wrote and then go through and choose 2 or 3 of the ones that are really meaningful to you or very powerful images. And so I circled, I am from the sound of rain. I am from the sight of a rainbow over mountains. So those are the ones I'm gonna work on today. So just take time to look at what you wrote and then circle the ones that are speaking to you. Once you've done that, we are gonna just do little sketches before we decide to move on to the final image. So using, again, one of the scratch pieces of paper, the lighter ones, I'm just flipping my poem over, and I'm gonna look back at some of the shapes that I chose and draw those shapes on my paper. I like to have space when I'm working, it's nice. So I'm gonna do a little circle. Whoops, my pencil broke, it's fine, I have another one. I always have a little extra materials laying around. And I'm gonna do the kind of diamond shape and the rectangle. And then I'm gonna look at my poem. I'm gonna look at my poem, The Sound of Rain. And so when we're thinking about how to draw our images, we're thinking about making them very simple. Simple drawings that people anywhere would be able to understand. So I got my cloud and my rain. I'm gonna do the mountains with a rainbow, and I'm just gonna do one more for fun. I really enjoy making these drawings, and I hope that you do too. These are like little series. I feel like we could make lots of them. Whoops, I just drew my mountain again, but I wanted to do popcorn, so you know what? I'm just gonna do that up here. That's the thing about drawing and being an artist, is that we become very adaptable and we make mistakes and we take little risks, and that is fine. It's actually great. So my popcorn kind of looks like little clouds. And then I'm gonna do that yummy, smelly stuff coming up the top. And some signs, most signs, they have words. You don't have to have words, but you could add language and visual imagery in your signs. And I'm just gonna try out putting little posts. So imagine how cool your neighborhood would be, or if you're driving down the freeway and you saw really fun signs like this. I think it would make people smile. So now we have our sketches, and we are going to take a peek at these. And if you're working with other people, share what you're doing with your friends, with your family, people who are around you, and save these. And we're gonna put them on the side and we're gonna look at them. But these to me are works in and of themselves of art. I do have a few over here. I did those with a pen. So, you know, these are sketching stages, brainstorming, thumbnail sketches, little ideas that we're recording. So I have that there. And then I'm going to pull out my thicker paper, which is super nice to have, very nice art material. And I'm going to get out my template, which are these shapes. So this was a piece of cardboard, big box. I cut it down so it's nice and easy to work with and turned it into this square that I'm turning sideways to make this diamond shape. I'm going to grab my black marker and outline it very thickly, because we want signs that are easy to read. And maybe we're gonna cut this out. So we wanna make a nice thick line around it and then pull it up. I wanted to show you another trick in case you don't have a piece of cardboard laying around. We're just gonna make a little ruler here on our page. So you can use the scrap piece of paper for this. And we're going to make it whatever size you want. You just decide of a size, and this is basically like a little ruler. So we're gonna use the same line to draw our edges. And so I'm just gonna go from here to here, and then I'm going to turn the page, and I want to try to line up like this side with, so I'm gonna bump that in a little bit with here, so that that middle line is straight across from each other, but it doesn't have to be perfect at all. And then we'll do the same thing here. And now we're using this top as our guide to come down. So there's so many things in our everyday life that we can use if we don't have the exact thing. So again, it's about being resourceful, using what you have, problem solving. All these things are very important in art making and in life. So look, 2 different ways of making the same shape. Pretty cool. So now I'm going to choose which of my images I'm going to put in here. I'm going to go for the rain. And so I'm going to draw my cloud, and I just go for it. I don't, because we already tried it out with the sketch. And so I'm making my lines really thick and bold so that they can be seen from far away and they're gonna pop out. So there's my cloud and then my raindrops, which I love drawing. And here in New Mexico, we are hoping for rain, and we love the rain for our garden and for our wells and all the things that we are loving water for. And as you can see, I just have my little tub of markers right here, and I'm going to use some color. And you can experiment. There's lots of different ways to move your hand to do mark making. So here I'm doing little circles, because it can be sometimes a lot to fill in a shape with marker, but you can find different ways to do it. I'm going to do a different mark with the next color, and I'll show you more of what I'm talking about. I'm going to go for purple, and this time I'm going to go back and forth like this. And yeah, so my purple is not brand new, but that's okay because it's making a different value. And I'm using 2 different marks. The round one that I did with the blue, and now the purple, the back and forth. And then I'm going to do the rain. I'm going to bring back some blue in the rain. Just pop it in, and then a little yellow. And of course you can fill in the backgrounds completely if you'd like. I'm going to leave mine white right now. I'm going to do one more before we move on. So feel free to keep working on yours. You can pause at any time. But I'm going to do one more while we're sitting here together. And I'll just put that one to the side. Maybe I'll use that one later. And that would be a cool thing I just thought of, is you could make, if you have a copier, you could make copies of it and then do a bunch. So you have like a little folder full of your different signs ready to be filled by you or your friends or your family. So I'm going to do a circle. So this is a nice bowl from my kitchen. So I'm going to do it in pencil first, so I don't get a marker edge, on the bowl. Because while art can be a little bit messy, we can do things that make it not quite so messy. And our moms and dads and other adults aren't like, what did you do? So we just, think about stuff like that. And, that's one thing where we can learn from art is being respectful. We are respectful to the materials. We take care of the materials. Like we put the lids back on the markers. We clean up after ourselves as we go along. And so those are just things, and then we're respectful towards ourselves. We're like really positive while we're working. Even if we do something that we don't like, where you just can say, that's fine. You don't have to get, hard on yourself. This is fun. And we can always make different ones. So I'm going for the rainbow over the mountains. So since we live up here in the Sandias, the color of the watermelon, I don't have pink, but that's okay. I'm just gonna kind of make it that red-orange color. And again, here's where you can use different strokes on your marker. Make another ridge with a different color, a little lower ridge. I'm gonna do little shading up here. And then I'm gonna finish off with a yellow down here on the bottom. Yeah, and sometimes I like to put music on while I'm making art, so you can always put on a nice calm playlist while you're making art. Okay, just a couple more strokes here. And here I'm doing a little bit lighter. And I'm going to frame it with my black to make it pop out. So people be, oh yeah, that's definitely a mountain. And then the rainbow, the super fun part. And so just a little bit about, if you love this idea of the rainbow over the mountain and you want to do that, I say go for it. Sometimes people will say, oh, don't copy me, or in the art room there's several people doing the same thing. But as long as it's something that you really want to do, it's a compliment to the other person. It's like, hey, that's a really cool idea. I want to try it out. So I encourage you to follow your heart when you're making art. And my rainbow, you know what comes next? Yellow. And green. And again, I'm making this image. It's something that almost anybody from any age and any place in the world would be able to tell what it is. And that's a cool thing about signs, is they're basically like a universal language. And these signs are telling people about the beautiful things that we love. So consider sharing these with other people. I'm going to sneak a little purple in here at the bottom. And feel free to make as many signs as you'd like. I'm just going to move on to the next stage, which is we're going to cut this out. So there's my rainbow over the mountain. And so just cutting this out. I've used scissors for a long time in my life, so I think I'm pretty quick. But take your time and move at your own pace. There's no rush. And then I'll just put that to the side. So now I'm going to show you just a couple different levels that you can take it to. You could leave it like this, tape it up in your window, on your wall. But I'm going to show you, I went into my recycling bin, one of my spots, my treasure spots, and I cut out a cardboard of a packaging. So because when this over time, I'm sure you've seen that, it starts to get a little flimsy. So I'm going to do my tracing again one more time. Go around the edge, and I think you saw when I was cutting out my sign, I left the black outline, and that is so that it will pop out, and it has a border. But this time I'm going to cut a little bit on the inside of the black line so that it's going to be, this is going to be the backing for my sign. And then we have our glue stick. And so this kind of stuff, it'd be cool if you helped clean it up at the end of your project. And so just put it to the side for now. And then I'm going to glue with the glue stick all around the edges. I make it kind of a star shape in here, and I'm going to put a little bit on here too, just to make sure that adhesion is going to happen. And we'll see. So now I'm going to put this on here. You know artists have strong hands too, right? So, see how it's nice and solid now? Then the last step, if you'd like, is we're going to put on our popsicle stick. So I'm going to put that about halfway or leave a third of it up here. Math also comes in handy with art. And we're going to use the tape. I use 2. You could do 2 or 3 to really hold it on there. And then you have this cool little sign. Okay, I taped mine a little bit to the side, but that's okay. I would take it off and move it or just leave it like that. It's kind of fun. It's fun to see things in life that are like a little bit askew. So just go with the flow. And so here's my little rainbow over mountain sign. And I'm just going to show you a couple that I had worked on before that are on the wall behind me. The rain that you had seen, I've done a couple iterations of it. I did mine, I am from here and there because I'm a mover and a shaker and I get around. And then take it easy. I made a couple iterations of, like I told you, I love making these signs. So I'm so happy to have shared this project with you today. Here's another one with the Route 66 sign. Yeah, so just have fun making these signs. Make as many as you want. And if you would please take pictures of them or have somebody take pictures of them and share them with us, because we wish we were there in person with you, but we can't be there today all together. So share with Route RT66 Arts Alliance on Facebook. We would love to see what you've made and share it with the community. Have a beautiful day, and we'll see you for the next art lesson.